So how to study the Constitution? You don't start studying the Constitution from Article 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is not how we study the Constitution. Because if you go by that, you will be missing various important provisions in the Constitution. Why? Because Constitution has been structured in such a way. You will find Article 394 of the Constitution provides for commencement of the Constitution. That Constitution will be commenced. Few of the provisions will take effect. For example, Article 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, Article 60, Article 324, they will come in force on the 26th of November 1949. But the rest of the provisions will come in force on when the Constitution will be finally adopted. That is on 26th of January in the Republic Day, 26th of January 1950. So Article 394 is providing the commencement of the Constitution. 395 is providing repeal. Now when you read any statute, where do you find the definition clause? Obviously in section 2 or section 3 of any statute. But in Constitution you will find that Article 366 of the Constitution of India. All the definition clause. For example, if you want to find out, you are reading Article 13 of the Constitution, which says that any fundamental right, any statute, any law, which is inconsistent with the fundamental right shall be null and void. Or any existing law, which is inconsistent with the fundamental right, that shall be null and void. Now, you want to find out what is the meaning of that existing law. Obviously, you have to find out first within the framework of the Constitution. Where will you find that? You will find that under Article 366 because that is the definition clause. Article 366 clause 10 will tell you what is the meaning of existing law. Now, Article 367 says that if you are not able to find out any definition within the Constitution or under Article 366, you have to take the assistance of the General Clauses Act. So if you start reading from Article 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it will be very difficult for you to reach Article 366 and 367 that time. After that, I would also like to tell you one important provision, which is Article 372. Generally, it's a missed provision. Have we asked ourselves a question that how these pre-constitutional laws, for example, the Indian Contract Act, for example, the Transfer of Property Act, 1882, General Clauses Act, there are so many statutes which have been passed, prior to Civil Procedure Code, how they are in continuance even after the commencement of the Constitution. What is that provision which tells that even the existing law or the law which have been passed prior to the commencement of the Constitution will be taken into account and will be in existence? What is that article? You will find that Article 372 of the Constitution. Generally we know fundamental rights and all that, directive principles, fundamental duties, center-state relations, but these are certain articles which is missed in the law schools, okay, which is not generally taught in the law schools, Article 372, 366, 367. So how to start studying the Constitution? We need to ask ourselves questions. We have to be very curious. You can start from any article, does not matter. You take any fundamental right part and you can take any article. For example, when I was in first year of my law school, I started from, in first year itself, I started reading from Article 141. My senior came and told me that, what is Article 141? What is this doctrine of precedent? So I said, doctrine of precedent is when law declared by the Supreme Court shall be binding in all courts within the territory of India. Obviously, I was not knowing it. I had to refer this bare constitution. Okay? I'll take a pause here and I would like to correct. This is not a bare act. Though it is written, it's a bare act. It's a bare constitution because what is act? Act is something which is passed by Parliament. Constitution was not passed by the Parliament, it was passed by Constitutional Assembly, though which was in the nature of the Parliament only, but it was a Constitutional Assembly. After that, it was dissolved. So generally, when the publisher publishes any book, obviously they write the bare act because it's a universal method. So bare act and bare constitution, that's a basic difference. Anyway, I would like to come to Article 141, for example. I started from there. Article 141 says, law declared by Supreme Court shall be binding in all courts within the territory of India. And if I ask you, what will happen if when you go to the lower court judge and lower court judge says, okay, fine, I agree with you that this judgment is applicable in your case, but I am not going to consider it as binding. What you are going to do? It happens, it's not impossible. It may be rare, but what if he tells you? What is the recourse to that? Article 141 definitely says law declared by Supreme Court shall be binding. But if he does not take it, what is the recourse? What is the solution? You need to ask yourself these kinds of questions. That what is the solution for that? The solution for that obviously is a contempt of court. And you need to ask all these questions. So my senior asked me that what will happen if whether the law declared by the Supreme Court is also binding on the Parliament. This is also one very interesting question under Article 141. If Supreme Court has said this and struck down certain statute, whether Parliament can, with the new amendment, can come up with the same law. So what is the law for that? So as a law students, we have to be very curious and we need to ask questions. That's not so simple. You can't say that Parliament cannot pass the law. You can also not say that Parliament can pass the law. Because there are various judgments. For example, the Prithviraj Cotton Mills judgment. There are so many judgments for that. So I started from Article 141. I got interest. Then I jumped to Article 14, 15, then Article 12. So you can start any article. But please, the simple method of reading the Constitution is you start from the basic commentary. Then you go to the next level commentary. For example, you are starting from the MP Gen. After MP Gen, you can jump to D.D. Basu or Arvind Datar, and after that you can go to the 16-volume book, D.D. Basu. Okay, so this is how we study the Constitution.